Got it.
Here we are on our first podcast, and I was just talking to Alex before we started this, that we want to be as authentic as we possibly can in a world that lacks authenticity. So today we're just going to really wing things because we don't have much of a plan, but we're really good at doing things.
Okay, there you go. She likes
letting things transpire and work themselves out. So,
yeah. So,
Alex, let's start off with your story, if you don't mind, a little bit into what got you into health and science and everything else.
Well, what got me into healing was hell. Hell got me into healing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I actually painkillers is when it all started. But it goes well beyond that. It's one of those layer by layer, but I would say the journey for energetically started at Vicodin at 17, right? I had injuries and headaches and stuff, and they prescribed me this Vicodin, hydrocodone. Everyone knows about it. This was over 20 years ago. And I had been through childhood trauma. And that's really, I guess, where it began. There's no, you just pick a point and you can see where things begin. But those two connecting points, the trauma and the opioids, were like yin and yang to an event with like turning into something else. And that's Maya. She's, Maya. She's just trying to sit on the chair behind me and be part of this. So I moved in with my dad at 17. He had lived in Utah, that my parents were divorced, and I knew school. And this was the place where all the trauma happened. It was like when I was 11, 12 years old. And my mom, my stepmom, and my dad were all part of this family stuff. It's, my family are Mormon, and there's lots of things that go through religion, a lot of puritanical stuff, right? That can cause a lot of heavy weight of guilt and shame. And I didn't know how much, how I was affected by those events. I thought it just let it go. It's, things happen, people, blah, 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 blah. And I never knew what actual healing was. I only learned how to suppress things at that age. We all do it. Even like our activities are not transmutation, they're suppression. Like we do sports to forget, not to bring up the energy and harmonize with it. We use those endorphins as suppression devices, right? Like where we overdo everything because we're so unable to to truly feel here because of pain and fear. And it's part of the journey. You just aren't old enough. Your brain has not developed with your heart enough. And so when I took opioids, man, I'll tell you straight up, it felt like I could breathe for the first time. I felt like I was at peace, right? It was this temporary peace. And I'll say it, my dad and I, one of the best conversations, experiences I had with him was this 3-hour drive to our boat. And I was in Utah and we were going home. And it was just me and him. And I had taken like a bunch of Vicodin. This was early on. And it made me more comfortable talking, right? And I thought I already knew how to talk, but it made me feel better when I talked, right? Like that energy, the endorphins, that liquid courage.
Mm-hmm.
And that it was so comfortable that I knew right then and there it was a problem. I mean, literally, something inside me already was like taking NyQuil. Like I took a prescription of Vicodin, like a month supply, and I would take it in like 4 days or something. Yeah. And then I would be out, and I wasn't even really dependent yet, but psychologically it had already begun because I was taking things like NyQuil to go to sleep just because somehow my intuition or some movie maybe I watched about addiction, I don't know, but somehow my intuition knew substances that would work. And that got even stranger because like WebMD and things like that were not quite as popular, right? I was high-speed internet, MySpace had just come out. It was a different world, no dark web, drugs, right? None of that stuff. It all came from the doctors. It all came from the, Mexican mafia, that type of stuff. And so that world, man, once I took that pill, that was like a time warp. It's like hot tub time machine. Cause I swear I took those pills and now I'm awake all of a sudden. And My mom's calling. Hold on. Let me focus this for a second.
Yeah, that's
Hello?
okay. And
Hello? Okay, what do you say? Yeah, he owns the house. The kid is my age.
no, that's okay. And yeah, I mean, just we're being authentic as possible. Like,
Yeah. So
I
the
think,
story, sorry,
yeah,
he's working on that that new rental. So I think it's done. I mean, I know it's done. It's just the last little pieces. But so back to the drugs, right? I by high school, man, was already overusing those scripts and decided to make my own prescriptions, So I at like 18 started writing prescriptions with the in Utah. We figured out the DEA number and how the system worked and all that stuff and the algorithm. And this all like comes from, this is what's so incredible is it's that dark forces, like the dark side, but how that creativity and that ability is also the same ability that makes me strive now for goodness. Like it's the same energy. It's like this gift. Use your intuition is tuned in for bad or light or whatever. But I yeah, I can't to take that risk too, to go from like this good kid, not ever even expelled, to like felony serious DEA charge, like within a few weeks, man. Like
wow,
it just took,
happened that quick.
yeah, I was already, I guess I was a criminal at heart because I was already like, whatever. Because you just started seeing my reality started breaking down at that age already. Because it was not this picture perfect kind of universe of this, you live this safe, you do, Mormonism teaches they have like this grace, but this puritanical, you have to be perfect. Like, oh yeah, there's this thing and then they debate it, and then people debate, oh, it's faith or works. And the truth is, I don't care. I feel love and unconditional worthiness no matter what. I am grace. I don't know what the heck to say because I feel so wonderful. And when I was told so many times that I shouldn't feel wonderful because of something, that is a prison right there in itself, right? Like, just think about it. Like, I feel wonderful now, but because of my anxiety of getting a house, it pulls the energy, right? Like the joy is being pulled down, makes
Yes.
you sweat, that peripheral nervous system kicks in. It makes you can notice what is happening in your body. Like I feel it, like, because my anxiety goes up, and then my creativity of fear goes up with it. So like these weird concepts start coming, and I'll sweat from my armpits, not anywhere else. Like it's not a cardiovascular kind of clearing sweat. It's this stressful smell, the smelly, stressful
Yeah.
fear.
Mm.
But man, my dad died very soon after that. So I got busted. I was 19, and my friend who was part of it, he was still in high school. I had just graduated. He was a year younger. He left a bottle of Oxycontin out in his room. It seems like on purpose, honestly, but I think it in a sense was, but it had the script bottle and it said Dr. Tyler Anderson. And why the heck is and she's a mom, a good loving mom, and I think good things about his mom still. I hope she's well.
Yeah.
She's like, who is this stuff? And he just tells the truth. He tells the whole truth. And thank goodness for that stuff, because I got arrested. It was scary, and I was so ashamed. My dad, who has money and finance, I didn't call him. I stayed in jail for a few days, and then I called my best friend's dad. And he loved me like a son, but less of the fear, right? Like it's a different level of love with these relationships. And he,
So painful that first time, like getting arrested.
ugh.
It's so
Yeah,
painful.
it was, and then you're withdrawing, right? I'm coming off of Vicodin at that time, and legs are hurting. I'm locked in one of those pods with like 10 people in a glass room and a shower. It was all sealed. And the guys would take the mattresses and get crazy. And like, I mean, it was like a horror story, like of chaos.
Well, especially
And
at that young age too.
yeah, that's not a fun age. You don't want to be arrested at those ages. I mean, you don't want to be arrested at any age, but I'm
Period.
telling you,
No.
that is danger zone, like freaking 18 to 30, right? That is a freaking wild. Thank goodness I never went to prison at that age. I'm so grateful I did my time at the end, right? I was already done. I was wiser, if you want to say wiser, but so I'll get back to that. But the story with the Vicodin in the jails and that stuff, I got a really good attorney and got a diverted sentence. So, and I completed it, like a 2-year, no probation either. Like DEA, they just asked me to, tell them how they did the thing. And it was weird. And since it only involved me, I was the mastermind. It was just narking on myself kind of stuff, and so because you're not shocked by this, but the flaws in the system is crumble. It's a joke, and it only reinforces busting itself, if you know what I mean. Like those low income, the jail cycle, this revolving doors, and everyone's like, oh, it's so hard, and the empathy doesn't seem to turn on. I mean, the word empathy implies that you've actually had the experience or feel it as you, right? And that's how I perceive empathy. I don't perceive empathy as compassion and using my mind to look at it from afar. I am the heart feeling it as them. That is a complete different, like when we talk, sounds all weird. It's like this tuning into my heart, right? Like it even makes me look funny, like a weird way into the universe, like a stare, because I'm trying to look, I'm trying to feel into my heart, because there's this field, the vagus nerve, and those things, there truly is a connection between all of us, right? Like, and learning that a lot of people can't feel empathy like that until they're directly in front of it, right? Or directly affecting them or putting themselves into the place of empathy. Because I don't believe you actually have to have the experience of everything to feel real empathy. I think that's the whole joke, is we don't.
Right. It's like when you're driving down the road and you see a homeless person, and
I think those guys are gifts.
You can put yourself in that person's shoes. Like, what would it feel like to be out there on the road, homeless, looking for something, just looking for anything to get by in that survival state, which most people don't. They don't do. It's a skill that you practice, actually.
Yeah, so that's a judgment. It's a great example, because those people that are asking for money or on the corners are the greatest karmic examples of judgment or love. You got one choice, love or not love, right? Do you have compassion? Do you feel it? Do you say, get a job? Oh my gosh, like I get it. People have you feel it, right? Like this,
Right.
sometimes you feel anger, or you're like
that tension. It's like a tension.
Yeah, that tension, the fear. And it's like, people don't recognize this, but I've noticed this, that people carry their energetic field, and what people think about them is carried in that field. And as it tuned into like an empath, you feel like you can tell when someone's been really judged or loved. You can tell before you even speak the words. Follow your heart. It's so weird how flow begins. You'll begin to speak in alignment with them. And when you remove the separation, because judgment is separation, you're literally saying they are different from me. That instantly, what does that do? Shut you off from all possibilities. You're no longer allowing, because you're judging. And it's funny, because that's all it takes. The judgment closes the gate, right? Closes the connection, closes your city, so no one else can come into your city. And it
severs that energetic information, that field of exchange of information.
Yeah, like a Wi-Fi heart field, right? There's a Wi-Fi heart field, if you will, everywhere. And we connect doing handshakes, like Bluetooth does handshakes all the time. You'll hear it when you're running, because they're this frequency bands are so jammed in with stuff now. The FCC and honestly, they restrict all this stuff, and they say it's for whatever. But so anyway, Bluetooth and stuff, short range, I'll run by someone, and if they have Bluetooth, a lot of times it'll cut mine out, even if they're on a totally different paired frequency. And that's just, the magnetic field of stuff. Like, do you ever meet the people that like seem to break everything? Like they're just like, That's like a poltergeist kind of energy.
Yeah, and I went through phases of that,
Me
believe
too.
me. So there's no judgment, like if you break everything, because we've broken a lot of things in life, but we realize that it can be reassembled just like a puzzle piece. And
I think one of the greatest things, let me I want to go into the jump to the awakening part of my story, all right? Because
yeah, I mean, we got until 9:45
where
until
was your head trauma at?
my head trauma.
What part of your brain did it hit?
So it's a complicated story because I've had a lot of concussions in my life, a
Yeah, me
lot of
too.
brain trauma.
Well, I
But
just feel this pain in the back of my head right here, right now. And I I don't know why. Like, oh, distinct head pain for a second. So
But for me, it was a cavernous malformation in my left frontal lobe. It was about the size of a cranberry that was removed. And I don't know whether it was nature or nurture that created
so I'm
this
sorry, man, my brain's trying to your left.
left frontal lobe.
So this
So
spot
yeah,
in mine.
so left frontal lobe.
I'm checking if it's my left. See, there's that hemisphere. You can use the camera to mix your brain up all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, you didn't get hit there?
So it's maybe a nature or nurture story, because what came first, the chicken or the egg? I had a lot of brain trauma and concussions. However, the doctor theorized that this malformation was there since birth. Malformation is what they say.
Okay.
But
So is that like a little tumor?
benign brain tumor,
A benign brain tumor.
and it was leaking blood into the rest of my brain, and the brain doesn't like blood, and it causes you to have a grand mal seizure. That electrical charge starts and the
Okay.
body shakes.
That
And
makes, okay, I understand more, man. I guess I've been too selfish to actually listen to more of the story.
no, it's understandable. The thing about the brain is that it acts as like a conduit for the rest of the central nervous system.
Yeah.
As you know very well, and that connects down to the heart. And so I don't know enough about how to heal seizures at this point, in my understanding of health and the universe and science. But I do theorize that something as simple as a thought can trigger that grand mal. But we're all learning. It's a learning process. And but who said, was it the concussions, the fighting, the brain trauma, the sports?
Yeah, that's my,
What
like,
was
that's,
it that caused it, or did that exacerbate something that was there from birth? Who really knows, and who really cares? But the main thing is yeah, Alex and I, we're only in this with the intention to help others, and however that transpires, that's the most beautiful thing for us. So
that's so the seizures, then of course I know seizures. I've had them. Well, I've had them when I'm hit my head really hard. Like as a kid, same thing, lots of falls from very high places. And yeah, man, that's tough. And it's scary too, when you're taught that, like, and like, for instance, I had the idea that American Western medicine would be like, if there was a solution, they would have it like that. I bought into the pharmaceutical delusion, and it took a thing like Oxycontin to show me the deception. I mean, that sounds funny, but that showed me so quickly. Like, you've seen this company with billions went around telling everyone it was less addictive, and they knew it was as addictive as it was when Hitler was hooked on it, right? Hitler was hooked on Oxycodone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, oh no, it's less addictive because it's
he gave his troops meth.
Oh, meth, oxycodone, the chemical soldier, right? The chemical person. That's just another word for that, is the karmic person, because chemicals are just karma. They're just action, reaction, right? They're just putting a little piece into that sacred geometry, and everything moves into new places. And I don't know, they're so simple, and they're they're valuable at times, very valuable, and amazing that they exist, right? That there is a vibrational pill, if you will, for different things, for helping if you do need something in a seizure, like a benzodiazepine or something to keep you from whatever it may be, you know, like there's things that exist that help people get to the point where they don't need those things, right?
Yeah.
That's the point. Like, shows you, look, it's possible to be fine. You just, you know, so and that's it's weird because like me and with all the like addiction and really a lot of moms out there that have lost people to kids to addiction, and for me, honoring those experiences, but also knowing that that stuff was very valuable in my experience, all of it, every bit of it, as hard as it is to say, having gratitude for all of those experiences, you know, like like to meet people like you that have been through your own journey, you know, in your own way. And you know, it's so cool because there really is this light, this energy, right? This wholeness that exists, and the heart and the mind are meant to work together, like male and female, masculine, feminine, right? If you think about it, like your heart, I think I understand this correctly, but when we're babies, we're with the mother goddess, we're as one, right? The heart brain is the only thing that exists, the heart
Before
mind.
the brain, yeah.
Yeah, but the brain, and then the brain comes out of it, right? Out of the whole, I don't know, I think it evolves in stages, but the
Yeah,
heart is the first brain.
the main thing is the heart is before the brain.
And
It's
then think
formed.
about that in terms of concepts. So you have duality is the brain, and you have non-duality, which is the heart. And we start in there, and then you have like this, sounds weird, but like this fractal copy. Your heart separates itself into two to give you perspective. And then it's like a mirror, the heart mirror and the mind mirror, looking at each other, just like we are. I'm heart, you're mind, right? We're bouncing things, and I'm like, I feel so good. And the mind's like, that's because of this. And then you create this new story. And then the heart's like, that would be cool. And then that feels that. And then it goes back and forth. You see what I'm saying? It's a
They
mirror, like
communicate with each
ping
other.
pong
Yeah.
behind. If you want to think left and right brain, so be it. But I'm saying I associate left and right, heart and right. You know what I mean? I'm more,
Yeah, absolutely.
duality is the heart and mind right now in this discussion. As the Buddhists, I think, say, the heart makes the mind makes a terrible master, but a wonderful servant. And that means the heart is the master, right, of the mind. The mind and thoughts are, the Egyptians considered it a sense. They didn't think thoughts were anything other than a sense of this reality. And that makes more sense of it if you think about it, right? Just as much as touch, that's a thought. Do you know that? Like touching, feeling, all these things, that's the same as a thought. Like
The vibrational,
it's a vibrational drops and waves.
language of the universe. That's how
Yes.
the universe communicates.
In
That
the
part
heart,
of-
I noticed this. It's like if I surrender, I heard this from this person. She said that, and this is from neural feedback stuff, right? That if you close your eyes, right, and you sit in a couch, you should be able to get into alpha state really easy. You should not feel that beta nervousness, nor like really, if you just take a few seconds, like I go into, see, I start smiling. I can't stop smiling because I think of that love, and it's like, boom. And it's unconditional, man. That love, I feel, no matter what happens with my house, with ex-girlfriends, with friends, it's priceless and divine and it's available, whether you want it through science or through esoteric science or freaking weird ass behavior. You will wake up. Like, I swear the universe, no matter if I went through my prison and jails, I would have woken up. I used to think in this weird, it had to happen. And I'm like, I think the vibration is here, right? This will happen no matter what. But this, the way it looks at this, is up to this experience. And that is the free choice, right? That is the free choice. The heart is already in charge. We can't not be guided by that. Like, think about it. Like, dude, does your heart, since you've woken up, like, I don't even feel my physical heart anymore. All my stuff is felt dead center. My emotions are centered. That comes right out of, like, my body synchronized. Like, emotions aren't stuck in pockets of my body. It's what I would say. Like,
yeah, I've had moments like where my heart's open, and I can actually feel the physical heart, like, and that's where all the energy and you can feel it seeping up towards the brain.
So
And
yeah, that channel, like when I try to explain it too, when I first started clearing away my pain and trauma, I felt it all physical, like my stomach. I used to have antacid I needed. My heart would be tense like that. I call them heart knots. The heart knots had to come out like a muscle knot, right? Same thing. It's an energetic knot that creates a physical knot even. And this affects your HRV rate too. When you heal this, your HRV rate that will get, I've seen more improvement in my heart from the trauma work, the running work I do with it. The running comes with the, it's healthy. It's
comes
just,
in tandem.
it's a zest. It's not like I have to go do it. It's energy in it. So anyway, the healing of all these things, how it all works together, man.
And like you said, I've had moments where I felt it in the physical heart, and then other moments I felt it right there in my center.
Yeah,
So
the energetic heart, I'd call it, right? Your solar plex, then your heart chakra. Sorry, let's see if I can. So like, yeah, the solar plex and then the heart chakra really is more above that, and it moves as the energy is raising up. You're going to feel your heart. You know it. You've had the feeling where it moves up like this pressure, right?
Yeah.
Expands like that is the raising of the Kundalini. It's like taking the fire out of a hot air balloon and jumping it up and cutting the baggage, right? All of a sudden it raises. You see them, like that's what's happening. We're this energetic thing, and there's physical stuff to that. If you need scientific stuff, it's all there. The truth
right,
is there.
and that fosters the understanding, which opens you up to a new experience. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with science. It's just that people think that everything could be explained through science, and that's the problem.
Yeah, if the world was built by what we know, we would have a utopia, wouldn't we? It's built by what we are. I like to say, people will be like, I know. And now I kind of say, I am. Yeah. Not I know. Not I will be. Not yet. If I say not, it's usually not yet in a good way, right? Not, I remember in rehab once, they're like, to write 100 not yets of the bad stuff that will happen if you keep using. I'm like, now I think about it, I was like, you jackasses, you made me manifest every one of things of those. Yep. You didn't tell me I was that powerful. You told me I was weak. You told me I needed something else. Even I love God so much, and God is in me always. That's the universe. But I know I came here 100% equipped with infinity. I am infinity in a nutshell, get it? But turned it around. I have infinity inside, right? I have everything I need. That includes God, that includes friends, that includes everything. I didn't come here to need to become worthy, right? To show, like, to be like, right. Oh, Jesus, I need you. I even call Jesus, I like use them like talking about like fajita. I'm like, he's us. Jesus is he's us. He's all of us, dude. He's us. He's that us. Like, sorry, it's totally my weirdness. That is what I do, man. That's
I resonate with that a lot. I think we got about another 10 minutes before we are gonna wrap this thing up. But
let me so the awakening, then let me give you like the joy part, because
yes, thank you.
Let's because the joy part led to meeting you, right? Like the
transformation. Yeah.
So the horrible thing that happened, and if I go over, I don't care. It's gonna come out. Yeah. So, but the no, I ended up, I was on the run, Lawrence in Colorado. I kept violating probation. I kept relapsing. I had a girlfriend that I love very much that was, tied into all of it, died. That's horrible. No, I almost died many times. So she, I was entangled to some very toxic stuff, but the coolest thing about it, it was the end. I look at it now like, okay, that's not so bad. I see, like, it was the Battle of the Bulge. World War II thing I talk about, because that was like one of the last battles of the West, and it was all egoic. It was Hitler's last egoic resistance, and it almost tricked people, right? That's what I use about manifestation, is the Battle of the Bulge always shows up right before you success. It's always like, are you sure? You sure you want this?
What yes. A powerful story, dude.
Like, so I go through the experience. and I was in my battle of the bulge, man. Actually no, I wasn't there yet. I was in the fucking D-Day. I was in D-Day or something because I was running down the street. I'd taken, I don't even know what substances I took. They were not the opioids anymore. Those had used up they were done. I would that 10 years of, I was done. I was either going to die or get better. And I had a vision. I did die in I had this meltdown. I was smoking some marijuana and I had a cough. So I was taking cough medicine, a DXM, like a
codeine or
no opioids,
Oh.
DXM. It was over the counter, and whatever it did, I don't know why, but it, if you overtake that stuff, it really will mess you up. Robo tripping, you've heard of all that stuff.
Mhm.
I didn't even realize what I was doing. So I took a couple of them, and they were like from a Mexican dollar store, and they had no, they were just straight like illegal. They're supposed to add it with stuff because of this abuse factor, but I took it and I started having dissociative states, like the world was ending. This was before COVID. I saw a virus. I saw COVID. I saw like Space Force. I saw pyramid UFOs. I saw the world burn. Sacramento got incinerated and I died with it. That's what was so funny. It's like, I learned later, I'm just telling what I saw. It doesn't mean I actually believe these things, but this is how it worked for me. It was very scary, by the way. It was very scary because it was perfectly real. I end up in my apartment all alone, remember, on the run, warrants. If I got caught, I had fake IDs that were legitimately good. My cops wouldn't know. They would check them and it worked. All that, but all by myself, alone, no friends. Not Mike sometimes talking to that ex-girlfriend who was so pissed at me, right? She didn't know all the details. Like if I would have just told her, hey, I've had a warrant for 4 years. You literally have to understand how that affects my fear level, everything.
Oh my God.
So anyway, like these spiritual beings appeared in my room, like straight up, not like you, but like a energy. And I saw Buddha and Jesus and Martin Luther of all people, which was weird, but like a lot of like what I would say is my brain was showing me like mystic masters. And I didn't know much about the mystic arts at this time, right? This was not like, my mom called me Dr. Strange after this, or around this time, stuff started getting weird, but they touched me on the shoulder and they said, the time is coming. And I'm like, wow. It was like one of those creepy, like, the time is coming. And I was like, okay. And I knew it. And and I can tell you now that I still feel that knowingness of something from that. Like, yeah, like some understanding. And, I end up running down the street. It's pouring rain. Something's about to destroy the earth. And the thing goes off and I die. My skin melts. I'm running and I'm like running like a running skeleton, melting skin, muscle, all of me died. I mean, I dissolved. So, and I said a prayer as I dissolved for the earth, like I had to do it for the earth or something. But these are shamanic visions, and people that don't understand them will one day in their own way. Dreams, whatever you need to do to make sense of it. It's how infinity speaks to finality, to us, right?
I've experienced similar moments in my life, and it's like a moment that you cannot explain by talking about it, but it's so real and so peaceful that it almost feels as it's more real than an experience that you have. So when reality.
Everything disappeared. I went to the black void. Everything was gone. I couldn't even speak. All I was aware. Does that make sense? All I was aware of black. It was just black awareness, but aware, no pain, nothing, not even the ability. Like I said, I could not speak. But my last prayer as I died was, I knew I needed to pray, anyway, it was some weird thing. And I prayed and I just released it, not out of judgment of my life, but no, I mean, I needed to pray because someone needed to remember what we were. It sounds so weird, but anyway, the world, God's there and like, what do you want? And I couldn't see anything. It was in my heart. And clearly I was just probably standing in the middle of the road with my eyes closed. But for me and God were there. I mean this. And I said, I want a chance to be my best self. That was my last prayer. That was my last words I uttered before I dissolved, actually. And God said, so be it. And then all of a sudden the world that disappeared, that turned back around. The rain started coming. I could feel sensations. I went totally lucid, but not. I still was remembering, like, and I tried to stop a car. I was like, the world's back, like I'm in the state. And I tried to go into someone's house. I knocked on the door and I opened the door like, hey, guess what? And this guy had a gun instantly had a gun to my head. And I was like, and I went outside my body. No joke. I thought, like, cause I don't know. I always wondered, did I get killed that day? And
Did
I'm
this
in purgatory?
happen?
Yeah, this part happened.
You
This is
got
when it gets.
shot.
No, I didn't get shot. I got gun pointed to my head and then put in a corner. And all of a sudden I saw some angels speak, and it's like, dude, and I went lucid, like calm, like all this, like the voice of Gabriel came through me to speak truth and said, it's okay. When you do a little too much drugs, and I'm pretty sure he was doing drugs, and that's what made it so weird, is I was talking about me and him at the same time, because who the hell was he like by the door with a gun, like he was coke? I mean, I guess now it makes sense. God is speaking. But there, and he wasn't like I was loud. I was in a totally different area. It's not like he was ready for this crazy guy running down the street, man. So that was God helping me get on track, because this is the hilarious part, is I just told God I want my best self, right? As soon as he and something speaks through me and says, call the cops. And I couldn't control my words. It was like, I need you to call the police. It's okay. I just took a little too much drugs. I'm talking like, and then all of a sudden I'd go to screaming like, oh my gosh, like I was being ripped between dimensions. And the angels that I envisioned, half the cops were angels. Like they were nice, and they were nice. I'm grateful. They could have really hurt me. I was just screaming lunatic in a corner, and I was held at gunpoint, and I had never had a gun pointed at my head like that before, with a loaded gun in it. I had my friend who was like this tough Marine that would, oh my, what an idiot, but like down in LA, be like, what? He knew when guns were like loaded, he could see, and he would call it out. And I mean, like, dude, but that was the story. I was like, well, I guess I have my gun experience, but I went out of body experience because I was so terrified and thought I was already dead. So I was like, soul was like, all right, see ya outside the body. And anyway, he calls the cops. And the first thing I tried to do was lie to the cops and say I wasn't that person, but I couldn't. I'm not kidding. I could not speak the distruth. Something literally was stopping me. I would try to tell him to call my mom, right? And I couldn't give him the right phone number or name. I was mixing my ex-girlfriend's name with someone else's and phone numbers. It was gibber. It was totally like crazy, because in the vision, I'd seen everyone die. Like I really did. I saw the whole planet die. I saw my dog. I didn't have a dog, but I saw a dog just like this. Like it was like the Independence Day with the fire killing everything, Anyway, they arrested me. I ended up just telling him, I was like, I have a warrant. This is stupid. It's a smiley face warrant in California. It means you're going to jail. Like it has literally a smiley face.
4 years on the run. After
What's
4
that?
years. That was after 4 years on the run.
I had tried to be better. That was only 6 months. I had ran from the halfway house at that point. Me and that girlfriend of mine, I just started waking up to being better, right? This newer self, but I had all the old karmic behaviors that have to be, it's the purification process. It's part of the awakening. You wake up to this true self, but you still have the old you that runs your fucking life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the cops, and I know we're going over, just record it because I think this part should be shared. Just keep it going, because then you can cut the beginning part that we, out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think I want to share this light part because it was super special to me. There were angels around me. Like for me, I know believe me, I've taken many substances. I know how I'm very good at, like, it's funny reading realities and what's my inner reality, outer. You learn, like, you have like this, honestly, like a heads up display, third eye that is over everything. And that's God's eye. And when you learn to meditate, you'll see that eye. You'll see one eye. You'll see a single eye in that black view, and you'll see it clearly. It's the third eye of God. It's your eye. Anyway, back to the angels and all of those things. I was terrified. I didn't want to get raped. And I'm like, I'm really pretty, and I'm not. I fight, but I don't like violence, so I don't start fights or anything. And the angel said, and it said Alexander, right? My real name. Because I had fake IDs and all that stuff, remember? And that no one would touch me or harm me if I didn't harm them first, right? The same thing that literally they guaranteed it. The angel said for sure,
Wow.
you'd not be harmed. And I'm like, okay. And then like that, and it said, we will protect you. And I was like, and I'm not a big angel guy. I wasn't into angels. So that was
Yeah.
weird for me.
Yeah.
So when they arrested me, I had to get extradited from California back to Colorado. And I'd already been extradited 3 times. It takes, they have 30 days to come get you. If they don't get you, they can do an extension of up to 2 weeks. And if they don't, they have to let you go in other states. They can't hold you on Colorado's charges when they have no idea. That's totally illegal. Now, some states like Florida, totally bullshit. They can hold you 30 days in jail without charge. 30 days, believe me, that's a long time in jail, guys. So anyway, I was in Sacramento County Jail. That is a bad jail. I've been in some bad jails, and I've been in some what you call not bad jails, and Sacramento, and I've been in Cook County Jail in Chicago. I've been to LA County in California, and Denver County and the DOC system of Colorado. And I would take the DOC system of Colorado over any of the jail systems of California or Illinois in a heartbeat, right?
Even
it was scary.
California, there was not even, was it the gang culture or something? And
tons of gangs, just fear. Everyone's always checking people to be sex offenders. Like there's some bad, which is no joke, probably 20% of the people there, right, in those places. Yeah. And there's that fear. I'm sorry, I'm not even trying to say fear, right? That shows you the urgency and the fear of those places. Like but I was praying and meditating. I was still in that mystical state. Like God was speaking to me for that whole time. Like it was trying to get me to like be honest about everything. I think I wrote letters that were not, I thought they were honest because I was saying all the things I did, but they weren't. They were no context, no truth. I said things that weren't true. Like I said, I did things I didn't do to that ex-girlfriend, probably thinks I did a lot of things I didn't do, and I'm like, there's just chaos, right? Like universe said, all right, this is what was said to me. You have to be pulled back together to myself. Like there was 2 me's, right? And I kept seeing this like wave of vroom, 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 see how, and then they align, right? They're separate. This is me and me, and we're vibrating at the same resonance, but we need to come back together. And they said, you're split between realities right now, and we're going to unify you. And I was like, okay, this is weird. Cause I kind of strange from marijuana and DXM to do that, right? Because ayahuasca, DMT, none of that could get me anywhere. Because my tolerance, man, to the roof. There's no amount of marijuana. There's alcohol will kill me. Opioids would kill me because the death line and high line are just right there at the same level. But sorry, I'm talking a lot. That experience in that jail, I met brothers there. The brotherhood started. This is something I'm very proud of, and I can even kind of use this as the end of it at the time, but I was in the jail. I was not clear. My teeth were not fixed. I was not healthy. I was skinnier. I was weight in weird areas, right? Not the healthy weight, the sick weight. And I remember, man, hold on. I've been through a lot, man.
Yes.
It's a lot of like those fear, like every week, like, is Colorado going to get me? Who's going to extradite me? So the story is this, and this goes with the extradition, is there was a guy that was going to he was in intake in the jail, right?
Yeah.
He got in a fight at downtown Sacramento, didn't have a shirt, right? It was raining, right? So, because it ripped off. Well, I had my pajamas on. I didn't have shoes on. I ran down the street without shoes on. I had socks on, but I had a shirt, and I liked the shirt, this like nicer shirt. And I gave it to this guy because he was going to be released that night. And the system is so bad, they don't even bother giving them shirts, right? Here, you don't even get a shirt to go out in the rain. We arrest you. We rip you away from all this stuff, but we don't do it. So I gave that man my shirt. And this is something, I had just been arrested, knowing I'm going to prison, man, knowing there's no way I'm out of it. Five years was what I was looking at. And the fact that I had the consideration of that man Like, I am so grateful that love, even though it's me and I'm not, it's everyone. That love, that brotherhood, that, he probably got drunk the next weekend and needed a new shirt, but at least that action, man. And so when I got extradited, they put me, and this is where karma gets, some people like for instance, if my like ex knew the stuff I went through, this stuff, she can't even look at it because it makes her feel so hurt over this, how horrible it actually is, when you're so mad at people and then you get empathy, it's very hard to let it through. Like, it's like judgment released and then crying. So, but the thing is they weren't going to give me a shirt to go in the airport. I had a freaking Barney pink, yet part medical Barney that's rip away, right? It ripped, and no shirt underneath. So in just my pajamas and then those cheap jail flip-flops, man, to walk to the airport like a pariah, handcuffed, walking like I'm a murderer and
they're doing this and everybody's looking at you.
In Sacramento airport. Yes.
Like in the middle of the airport, you're
the airport.
shackled, you're like
they have me shackled. Yep. 2 guards. And I look at the guards and I'm like, guys, please, you can get a shirt for me. Where, like, I asked for compassion. I'm very rarely do I ask for compassion directly like that, but especially from cops. And I always have a pretty good attitude. I smile a lot, and energy is all that's helped me a lot. And the guy bought me a shirt, and like a cop, it's not from Denver County Jail, the cop himself bought me the shirt, and it's California bear on it. It reminds me of like Mother God, the bear, right? She is with me even when the men are not, when she's not, right? Taken care of. And I have that shirt and I'll keep it. And like some people are like, wouldn't you want to throw that away because of the, no, it's the healing. Yes, it hurt. And I told everyone in the airplane, I'm like, I'm just a drug addict and a computer hacker. Leave me alone. Like, I like to break rules. And then, I'm laughing as I get on the plane. Like, by the way, that wasn't my first time either. So I was used to that, but that was actually a gift, because the other way they extradite is by car, and it's like 6 days, and you go into every county jail in the country to like get moved just a state.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it took 6 days for me to get extradited from Florida to Colorado. 6 days. Like, they stopped. Yeah, I put in more county jails, and those experiences, like, I take little like energy from some of them. Good stuff though. Like, I remember in Mississippi, this weird jail. It was like it had to be made out of portables, like those metal drilling portable units, like big crates, metal, shipping crates.
Yeah.
But to get there, it had been a long drive, and they had like cigarettes in there snuck in. It was like totally like so cool, like hot and warm, and like a broken TV, and like 6 people that I swear, what part of infinity did you guys come from? Because it's like, we're all here at this card table. I don't play cards. I don't like it. But I like to just, those moments, because I was safe. I was no longer because I was sleeping on the bus, like the car, one of those vans. They had me handcuffed hands and feet, right? Like to your feet. So I got fetal position, like, and I'm not saying this to make people sad. I'm telling you, this is where I found strength. I was laying on the floor of that bus and I was being transported, and I'm like, it's all okay. I'm safe, and that chi, that fire, that warmth was still barely there for me, but it was enough, and to get into that place where I could move. And they don't allow you to make calls when you're transported for security reasons, but I know. So I got my mom a phone, called my mom from that place illegally. I could have been like, hey mom, come bust me out. They're going to transport me tomorrow. But no, it was a surrender place. I don't even know what city that was, but it was safe. Isn't that weird? It was safe. I was in a jail that was trashy and people would have been terrified, but I felt safe and I knew I was. And those tender mercies of God, right, of the universe, even that are bit like the shirt or the airline ticket instead of the bus, right? After I failed again, I messed up after the bus and I got a plane ticket. Like,
it's like the eye of the storm in the hurricane.
Yes, this piece, that is it's very true. And anyway, when I got back to Colorado, the miracles with the awakening, it began. I got more healthy. I mean, I tried to think a lot of my stuff was medications and I was crazy. Like all these things, I went through every step. Like, this is just this. I was like, no, I'm just upset, or I'm just in depression because I need antidepressants. Because when I got to prison, man, it was the door shut and then it was done. And the scary thing for me is I had another county charge that I had to still settle. So I first got a 3-year sentence, and then I had a charge in another county at the same time, which was the same case. It was just the legal system. I should have had what's called a global disposition, but I didn't. And I got multiple counties. So they had to all resentence me. Every time I violated, I had to go to 3 counties to do it again. I did that over 15 of those transports. And I can't believe how much I disliked them, and I kept doing them. But anyway, I get back and I end up sentenced, and I go through, I mean, yeah, there's really hard shit and dark stuff in those experiences, but I grew, and there's so much to go into in those places, like so many more stories. But the truth is, that is where, when I got there, it's like I had finally died and I was being reborn, like true death, right? The old me, Alex, is dead. He died on that. He was incinerated in that California street on that day in March or February, whenever it was. I can't even remember anymore. But on that day, the old me, the old garbage, the energetic version of me already died. And now the past few years, it's the physical catch up of that moment, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was when this all actually happened.
Mhm.
It's just, it takes time unfolding, bit by bit to see it. Like,
The
dude, I'm full
particle and the wave, that's
particle and wave. You're the wave and the particle. You got to learn how, and other people's particles become your waves. It's this weird yin and yang switching, vibrationally flowing. And I have so much joy. You've spent time with me. I mean, I don't even remember where I met you. DUI class.
DUI class. And
Yeah.
I think the main thing, if this is our first podcast, and we're going to get a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the main
Absolutely.
thing is for people to understand is there's redemption in the difficult things. It's most of society fears fear, and
Yeah.
what you're doing is just creating more fear out of that fear. So what you can do with the fear instead is transmute that into positivity.
Well, it's energy polar. Like, you learn this with your experiences, right? That negative places are still all energy. It's up to you to use it. So me and DOC, that toxic prison, that energy became energy, right? It was no longer bad. It became fuel to my awakening. I imagine it like all that toxic stuff is like bits of wood and kindle for your karmic fire, that chi to burn. Just throw that old stuff in there and let it burn, and it will charge you with joy. Like, there's this untangling, right, of reality. And this is what I can feel most in my energetic heart, whatever that tornado field that comes out. And is that it all starts right there in that black hole, that spot, right? That the black hole where time and space gets shrunk to mere time is funny, right? Where the past is the past, the future, or the future, the past, or they are the
Right,
same
like
thing.
light cannot escape from it, like not even the speed of light, which is faster than time.
Yeah, well, like, well, that well,
Theoretically, it's faster than actual time, the speed of light. And
yeah.
what we equate to be time.
Oh yeah. So the speed of light, it's yeah, okay. Yeah, I absolutely. And the quantum connection of this inner, and when I'm saying like light too, I mean in that inner light that's inside of us, in that quantum. I don't even like to use that word because it's so misused and overused.
Quantum.
Yeah, like a lot of like people just don't understand enough science, and that frustrates me. I have a cynical side that wants left brain, like, I want results. I'm sorry, I like woo woo, but I don't call it woo woo. I think it's beautiful, energetic changes from this heart, right? Like, it's like this creates all of this. If you can finally figure it out, that we're all one heart, and this is a mirror. This is a mirror of your heart world, your black hole. This reality is mirroring what this black hole contains, and black hole as in whole, not empty. Black, WHOLE, wholeness. the infinite black void as what's the Tai Chi, right? We start in the dark emptiness and we end in the dark emptiness. It's that stomach gut breathing. I wish I could pronounce words better. Maybe if I slow down more, I'll get better.
It's a process. And
yeah,
neuroplasticity allows us to change, because if you talk to me 5.5, 6 years ago, if I was talking to you, I would have had trouble pronouncing simple words. I would have been like,
well, I
"Hey,
can't say,
Alex," and I'd
your
say
wife's
like
name. I can't
green,
say.
green, I'd say green, or like, or yellow, or like, it would just be very, but my brain, you can reassemble, and it's
You're
amazing.
very smart, dude. That's what I love is that North Carolina, like energy, same energy. I'm noticing this about reality is same energy, right? Same heart energy, but the way the brain puts it out here in different various versions of the same thing. And it's so cool because we can all be one and separate at the same time. Like we can be our own universe while existing in others' universes. And
Particle and wave.
it's cool. So anyway, all these changes, the speed of the connectedness, like you talk about faster than light, right? Like these limitations society or science have created that aren't really limitations. Like for instance, they don't know the exact speed of light. It's this measurement tool that gets more and more. So where is it? Where's the end? Where do you set this in space against this in space? It really freaks me out when I start trying to create reference points. Like you try it, like think about the sun, like how did you make it stop in one spot to give a reference point to another? Like it doesn't all move together. Like it's weird and it freaks me out.
Well, it freaks me out too, and especially in the times that we're living in.
Yeah.
Like the average person is feeling a lot of anxiety if you're not really taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
And where are we in that space-time continuum that's causing things to manifest in max fear, max pain, max it's like you kind of want to, where am I in this space-time continuum and why is this happening?
Well, you see the similarities in the vibration stuff we point out, like being like Nikola Tesla yesterday, where his lab was, where his inspiration, that's what you got to remember, that time and space thing. You go to those old places where people were, you can feel it, dude. That's why some parks feel great and some feel quite horrible. Like why I run on the track every day. And as I run, I can feel how the other person feels, and it annoys me a lot sometimes because I am not tired running and they are. Like I'll be like, and then I literally tune in and I feel them. And plus you have like their physical stuff but you can feel it, like my heart, like I can feel like my heart is using its Wi-Fi field to feel where they're at, but then it's trying to readjust. Oh yeah, I don't need to beat faster. I'm good. Like it sounds strange, but it's like one heart, two hearts. Like there's something happening in this heart space that as you wake up, as weird and wild as crazy stuff I talk about, that really has probably more truth, more healing than any of the science. Like I love science. I have all these chemistry books because I like to use references to weird shit like ionic bonds, how they're off balance bonding between stuff, right? And atoms still love it. They're not balanced, but they still love it. So it's kind of like learning that we all have this fractal expansion of that same as above, so below, right? As within, so without. It's all the same. And so I am like the light, the fire that when I met you, dude, every time I'm less triggered. I don't like, and I don't mean triggers by, drugs. I mean like license plate, like the license plate of my ex-girlfriend, the state she's from, or those things that are triggers. And at first they were very annoying. Like she was a PA and I would go to PAs and I'd just be like, I don't trust you. You don't know what you're doing. Even though she's very smart, I would trust her more than anyone. But the point is I would be triggered to that frustration, like the rejection, the shame. Every time I would see a license plate, I would be reminded of my shame of unworthiness. And she didn't do that. That was not part of her. Like, I know she wanted to make me suffer, which was easy because I'm sensitive. I feel everything. All she has to do is feel a bad feeling on purpose, and I would be upset, like, so that whole stuff, I had to learn to see, like, I joke because Arizona, where she's from, like, Colorado's right, it's next to us, but there's not enough Arizona plates to be triggered enough to be desensitized, only enough to be triggered. So, like, I was like, that's interesting concept, right? Because if this was a Colorado plate, why, she lives in Colorado, why does that not trigger me, right? You start doing these, tuning into these things, and I was like, okay, well, let's see it. Yesterday on the way home, I thought about it. I saw all those old trigger license plates, Missouri, Kansas, and Arizona, right? My trigger plates because of her and just the decisions I made. I was jealous and broke it, and luckily I was, just, my coping skill was drugs, because I would just run away and say stuff, but anyway, I learned that running away power I had is also my same ability to run towards something, right? The same fire I need to make, the same energy to make up a lie is the same energy you have to be honest. It's the same thing. Absolutely. So you have the courage, is what I'm saying. If you have the courage to lie, you have the courage to be honest. And that is the beautifulest thing ever, because I lied a lot. And, like, I mean that in a nice, honest, clear, healthy way. I don't lie like that anymore. I check myself when I do. I have trouble telling people if like what I like, anything, little things, like if it's weird, and it's not out of pure.
Like, what did you have for dinner yesterday? Well, I had salmon. Oh no, actually I had tilapia. Well,
It's like, well, slowing down, right? That's why this is such good practice for me, and getting better, because as I share all this stuff with you and it, then it kind of becomes more, just talking about these changing planet. But this story of mine happened years ago, right? Like, I had the awakening, I saw COVID, I saw that, and I was messaging people, telling them stuff, and a lot of it was just crazy. But the stuff I said about all this future freaks some people out now, because it was right. I literally have friends now that tracked me down after prison to win it, because I told a friend that he needed to watch out for police stuff, and he was never involved with police ever. And I find out later, when I was arrested, the police were involved. It happened 6 months later. It was crazy stuff, right? Like, the stuff with the virus, anyone can say, oh, virus come, but I said it. I was like, this is how I said. I was like, and it was somewhere around March 25th, which is like when lockdown. I was very accurate, and it freaks me out, because it's like, so you mean I really do know this stuff in my heart? And God, it's like, yeah, it's not much of a secret, dude. It's just fear that keeps you away from it all. It's fear. Doubt and fear are the same thing. So, and I don't mean critical thinking, doubt of possibilities. Like I said, doubt of the possibility of the potential goodness. So anyway, and last stuff, the light is there, man. Like, it, you've seen it, your world, your miracles, man. Like, you made as many bad decisions as I did, just in different ways, and you're still amazing and healthy and fit, and clearly your brain is a little more able to slow down than mine in a good way. So doing something right,
A lot of meditation.
I love it. You see it. My meditation's weird now. It's like I stop into my heart. Like, it's all the time. I would say, like, or it has to happen all the time. If I don't, I start to feel poisoned by stuff sometimes. I don't know how to explain it. Like, but yeah, so free.
Jail brought me to that ultimate silence, that ultimate stillness. It's so still in jail, and it's like you said, you can find peace in the worst situations. It's a matter of how your heart's interpreting.
Dude, you did it. I mean, that was so cool to have someone actually try to be better. I mean, it was so good for me, because it was like all that work I put into something, because you weren't like a friend I already knew. We just talked. And so it was like, it helped me, dude. Like, honoring your truth helped honor mine. Do you see? It just grows. And like, you joke about the treehouse shaman and these people, but it's about a community. It's about healing. It's about brotherhood, sisterhood. We're all part of the brotherhood of the light, the sisterhood of the light. It's not about blood or DNA. That it's really isn't. I can love everything, and I do. It doesn't mean I like everything sometimes, but I know if I slow down a little bit, if pain goes away or you die, pain has its limits. Believe me, you go unconscious at a certain point, and it happens. And it's a beautiful thing that happens, because you're not meant to live in that suffering. We're not. We are meant to live in joy and bliss. We just got to shake this matrix, this old programming. Anyway, thank you.
Yep.
It's been cool, dude. I think that maybe I cut it, figure it out, put some,
We'll cut it, chop it up, and we'll put it on YouTube and
and on
Spotify and all that
Instagram,
good stuff, all that good stuff. And one
and
of
then
one of many to come.
yeah, and then maybe this, like, if you want to do this cut scene, like, I want to send out just energy to anyone that is looking, that can feel this. There's a melody in the heart that's beginning. It's begun. And if you're paying attention, like, and what I mean is that the heart is turning on in a new way. And for me, it's like I hear a song, but I don't hear a song. My heart is playing. It's a new melody, and it's beautiful. But to get to the new melody, you kind of have to turn off the old noise. You have to get rid of it, like the old music, but it's happening, and I know this. And so if anyone out there feels this, that there's people just like you. Like, we're here, we're all here. We're always all here. Like, there is a place where we all exist at all time,
And
for
it's
all time.
being yourself. That's the hardest thing to do sometimes, is to be yourself.
It's very hard.
It is.
It's like, you mean, like, there's so many things that, like, for me, like, that keep me from my truth, like vanity, fear, like how thinking you have literally, isn't it hilarious that trying to tuck in your stomach, thinking you're fat, literally blocks you from love? It does it on a physical level too, a physical level. Literally, it closes that because you're tensing up, you're in shame, instantly stopping yourself. Like you said, that, like, smiling when to help activate the thing, that opening the gate, stop closing it, right? You feel it. It's like this compression. You hunch over, you close that, you're sad, you're scared, you're cold, you're angry, you're in flight or fight. It doesn't matter. You're sealed. So, like, I never would think how vanity or these weird things we think don't matter, but they have more matter than anything to us because they're our belief.
Absolutely.
But all right, dude, I think it's been cool. I talk a lot, but I think it's just a lot of information for us to share,
Perfect.
So
that's it was done. It's done. And
first one done.
First one done. Talk soon.
All right, man.